How did you get started in yoga? How do you stay so slim? How long a day do you practice? How do you deal with creeps? Do you do any workouts other than yoga? What's the male to female ratio here? What are your eating habits or routines? Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you are a regular viewer, or welcome if this happens to be the first video you're watching from me. My name is Allie. I am a yoga instructor based here in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a former news anchor and reporter, so this channel just kind of fuses my love for all things video and storytelling with my love and passion for yoga. I really believe everyone should have access to yoga. Everyone should be able to take care of their body and their mind, especially if you are limited by cost, location, or time. I am also a mother to 2 young children, so I know how it can be so difficult to take care of yourself when you are limited on time and being able to get out of the house. So with that said, this is the most personal video that I have ever done on my channel. My number one priority is to create the best yoga classes that I possibly can create, and I'm constantly thinking of new ideas for them, and that's my number one priority. But lately, it's been really, really fun to get to connect with all of you through these fireside chat videos. It's really fun because I think it's nice for you to be able to get to know the person who is practicing with you on the other side of the screen. It's a great way for me to get to know all of you a little bit better as we create this kind of online community, this online yoga studio, if you will. So I was not sure if anyone would answer. I said, leave some questions. I will answer them. And I won't be able to get to all of them because thank you so much. You sent questions that are legitimate and appropriate and right up my alley, pun intended. I am going to get right into them. We're going to start talking about yoga, and then we're going to get into some more personal questions, and we're also going to get into some more questions relating to routine and diet and lifestyle at the end. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with the questions most closely related to yoga, which are how I got into yoga, what are my goals in my personal practice, and how long do I practice a day? So let's touch on all of those at once. I got into yoga when I was in high school. I grew up in San Diego, which is a really, really good yoga town. Like, yoga got popular in San Diego, I think, I don't know, before it got popular in the rest of the country, at least here in the United States. So as a child, people were just doing yoga. So my mom got into it when I was in high school. Shout out to my mom. I would just tag along with her because I thought it was cool. So I started the Hot series, the Hot 26 series. It's a set sequence. It's the same every time. It's like 100+ degree room, super intense, but I loved it. I really loved it. I felt so good after, and it was a cool way for my mom and I to have something fun to do. I remember rushing into the studio together, and it was like this stinky hot studio, but it was cool. I was into it. I was on board like pretty much right away. I think I was age 14, 15. And then we had actually a really great gym in our community that offered very high quality yoga classes. So I remember doing Ashtanga and Vinyasa yoga. At first, some things were a little bit strange to me, and like the Sanskrit and the oming that would happen sometimes at the beginning of practice were not really my thing. Still not really my thing, but I think that's the beauty of yoga, is there's some things that resonate with you and some things that are really meaningful to you and some things that maybe don't feel like they're authentic to you. Yoga has become a little bit more fitnessy, for better or for worse, but there's more creative styles of yoga out there. So that's what I love so much, is that you can find the style that works for you or the style that works for how you're feeling in that day. So that's how I got started. What are my goals for my practice? So I'm going to give my answer, but I also want to ask you if you could leave your goals for your practice in the comments below. So there's no right answer. It could be to lose weight, which is totally fine. Could be to calm down. It could be to loosen up your hips or your shoulders or your back, or it could be to really get a good workout. For me, I started and I just thought it was kind of a fun thing to do because I was so young and it was sort of like a different activity. I didn't really go for the mental benefits or for strength. I was a naturally flexible person because I had a background in dance. And so it felt good to kind of be good at it, to be honest with you, because I was so young. I could just get up into a back bend pretty easily. So I felt like, ooh, I can do this. Let's build upon this. Let's kind of play. My goal is still to play, to be honest with you. My goal is to feel strong and to feel like I'm in touch with myself. So I guess to feel aligned. The mental side of the practice became super important to me later in life once I had more responsibilities and frankly more stress, and I realized what a release it is. So I guess the answer is twofold. My answer is that most of all, I want to clear my head and feel centered, aligned, just balanced, grounded. It's just to come back home to myself and to feel like we've got this, we're good. I can start to get a little crazy and worry and spiral and things are moving really fast. And then I know when I get on my mat, oftentimes I just kind of bring it in, turn my focus inward. I always feel better. So my goal is just to keep with that. But from a more physical standpoint, my goal is just building the strength. I think because flexibility was always the easier part for me, now I am really focused on building the strength and how cool it feels to be able to feel strong and to feel your own power and to feel your own health in that way, and just to feel really grateful for that. And I feel really grateful for the ability to have the time and the energy to practice, and honestly for it to be my job, like to have this be what I do primarily. So it's the perspective and it's also the physical strength. I love this question of how long a day do I practice, because the truth might surprise people. I don't always practice for an hour a day. I would say that I do some form of movement a day, but sometimes that movement is like a couple cat-cows and child's pose and a couple little twists, and it's at the end of the day because it was a busy day. And like you, I have a busy life, and sometimes my yoga practice can't fit into every day. Because it's also what I do and I teach in studio, most of the classes I teach, I'm not actually doing the class. In fact, most of them I'm walking around the room and watching my students. Here on YouTube, I am doing the classes as I'm teaching them, but it's a different experience than purely being a student. So for me, it's really important to get into the studio or to take a class. I take from other creators here on YouTube as well. I will carve out hopefully 30 minutes to a full hour, 2 to 3 times a week. That means the other 4 to 5 days a week, I'm doing really short practices or I'm teaching. So my personal practice is not an everyday for a solid hour, and I don't think yours needs to be either. Some other yoga instructors might debate me on that, but I really believe in being realistic about a modern life and knowing that we're just doing our best. If you do one class on YouTube a week, that is amazing. Like if you do one class a week and plus one class in the studio, or you're doing other forms of physical fitness, I think it's amazing. I think you just have to do your best and to know that some weeks you're gonna have a lot of time to practice. Some weeks you might not feel so great, so motivated, and you're busy, and that's totally fine. Maybe that's the week that you just do a little stretch before bed. That's great too. So I live by that philosophy. I think really go for it when you feel it. When you feel it and you have the time and the energy, go for it. Go there, push yourself. But when you only have time for 30 minutes, sometimes that is just more than enough. You can get a lot of yoga in 30 minutes, 20 minutes, even 10 minutes some days. I can do a 10-minute little power sequence and it makes all the difference. Just knowing that you set aside some time and you've shown up for yourself on the days that you can, that's where the gold is, and then you feel great after. I love this next question so much because I think there's a lesson here for all of us. Has teaching in a studio or becoming a creator impacted the use of yoga as a form of stress relief / escape for you? Yes and no. Yes, in that I now can never just go in to take a class on YouTube or in a studio and just be a pure student. I do believe that I am always a student of yoga, and I'm always learning something new about myself or about this practice from every different teacher and every time I step on the mat. However, if I'm in a class and it's an amazing sequence, I'm thinking about the other teacher's sequence and I'm thinking about certain alignment cues, and just the way you think about things is different when that becomes your craft versus when you're purely a practitioner of something. So maybe you relate to this as well. If you have a hobby that you've taken to a more serious level or been trained in a little more, it's like you can't go back fully to when you were a beginner or when you were a pure student in the learning phase. Again, always in the learning phase, but it's just different when it's something that you do professionally. Your brain is on in a different way. So in that way, the escape is different. So I absolutely still can and do get on my mat and feel that sense of freedom, like I mentioned, and that amazing just coming home and centering. However, I think because it's now what I do, I have had to find different ways to feel like I'm playing and fully escaping, because before it truly was just yoga for me. Because now this is what I'm doing as my job, yoga and video production, it's not my only form of escape. So I am starting pickleball. I know like everybody is. Have you ever tried pickleball? Let me know. I know there's a lot of pickleball content here on YouTube, so I've got to study up, but I am starting that up this week when I'm recording this. And then I've also just started to get back into reading and journaling and writing as forms of escape and ways to kind of come back into myself. The journaling and the writing have always been there, and then the pickleball is something new. So I truly recommend taking on something new that's a form of play as an adult. So if you're not a yoga instructor, yoga is amazing for that. But yes, it has evolved in a different way. As for being a creator, I mean, it is still crazy to me that I'm doing this and that this has become also a business and something that I do as work, because I do earn money here now. But I don't think that part has changed. If anything, it's just a more creative space here because I get to do the video aspect. The creator thing is just a totally different form of inspiration. And if you have questions on becoming a creator, I am more than happy to answer those questions and to be fully transparent with you about what it's been like and how to get to this point, even though I'm still very much in the early stages. Once again, still a student and embracing that beginner mindset and that learning mindset. So thank you for that question. So I don't know why this question was asked. Question about the male to female ratio on this channel. I think that'd be an interesting thing to answer. I don't know what the intentions are again, but in real time, I will go into this and try to see if I can find out. Let's see. What do you think it is? Think about it. And here it is. It is 63.5% female and 36.5% male. I actually thought that it was more evenly split, about 50-50. So mostly people who identify as female and still a good chunk of male. So there you go. As far as age range, this is also very interesting. The biggest chunk being 25 to 34 years old. Also a lot of 35 to 44-year-olds. That's my age bracket. And a decent chunk of 45 to 54-year-olds. But really, a ton of different ages. And I just think that is so, so cool. Okay, most of you, as far as geographies, are in the United States, but actually it's just 45.4%. So we've got a big, big international audience. The next being the UK and Canada, which makes sense because I speak English. We got Brazil, Italy, France, Germany, India, Philippines, Switzerland, Hungary, Indonesia, Australia. This blows my mind, you guys. Wow. That is just absolutely wild to me. So thank you for being here from all over the world. That is incredible and truly inspiring, honestly. So tell me where you're from. You can, if you're in the United States or if you're in Canada or something like that, tell me where in your country, but what country are you from? All right, back to the questions. How do you deal with creeps? Okay, so before this, I was a TV news anchor and I had experience dealing with, I'm not even gonna call it creeps, I'm gonna more so call it unwanted comments. I got a lot of unwanted comments. Sometimes it was about my makeup, my looks, you know, my skin. I had some skin issues, and like there were personal things that people would write in about and comment about that were unwanted. And sometimes it was about my physical appearance, sometimes it was flattering, sometimes it was inappropriate. I just learned that people are going to have their opinions. It's almost easier for me here on YouTube because I feel like the people who are here on YouTube are here. So I think you are here because you want to be here and you want to practice yoga. You have a lot of choices. And so my hope is that people come here and they want to be here. And so they want to be grateful for the service that I'm providing and the things that I'm teaching. I would say the vast majority of the comments I get are unbelievably sweet and full of gratitude, and I think it's because people who are commenting are yogis, so people who want to come do yoga and hopefully after the class comment and they're happy. I've gotten some constructive criticism for sure, especially in the beginning when my video quality wasn't as good or maybe my classes were not as good. I just try to learn from them. Of course, some of them sting and some of them stick in your head more than you'd want them to. So I'm hoping that only continues as the channel grows, but I want to just say again, thank you for being so nice and just for being here. So that's it. Lastly, these are kind of all related, but do you do any workouts other than yoga? How do you stay so slim? And what are your eating habits and routines? Okay, so I love this, and maybe I need to do a whole other video on routines and kind of lifestyle off the mat. So if you want that, let me know. I'm happy to do it, or maybe I can do like a day in the life, showing meals, showing routines and things like that. Let me know if that's interesting. As far as other than yoga, as I mentioned, I'm starting to learn pickleball, so we'll see if that sticks. I do take classes, so I have a local gym right nearby, and so I will take a little bit of Pilates. I'll take a bit of just a standard workout weight training class. I think it's super complementary to yoga, and when the weather's nice, I love to walk. Sometimes I'll do the stair climber. I would say like 90% of my working out is yoga, but I do think it feels good to move, walking, and then I really have been trying to take other classes, maybe do some more weights. I think it's really important to have some variety and also to walk whenever possible, take the stairs and things like that. So mostly yoga. I think you can get an incredible workout as yoga being your primary source of exercise. Especially if you're doing vinyasa, that is a vigorous workout. How do I stay so slim? So going through life, I've had challenges with body image, and I've definitely gone up and down a little bit, but I think having a good relationship with food and movement, and like an abundant relationship with it, changed everything for me. So for example, when it comes to food and eating, instead of thinking of, I can't have this or I can't have that, I like to think of it as that I can have those things, but I want to have the thing that makes me feel really good. So I know that when I eat whole foods, and like I love avocado toast, I love eggs, I love a big salad. I'm not talking about like a little leafy green, I'm talking about like a hearty salad with like protein and a grain and cheese. I mean, I am not vegan, I am not a super light eater. I work out hard, I have 2 kids to chase after. Food is my fuel, and I know that if I eat foods that are gonna make me crash and foods that are gonna make me hungry again, or foods that are gonna make me feel not great, then I won't feel as good. So I just wanna feel good. I want to be able to move. I want to be able to have energy. So I try to keep it healthy-ish. I try to keep it whole foods and limit my snacking, because I know if I eat a super light lunch and a light salad, I will be hungry and I will eat sugar. And I do eat sugar, by the way. I eat sugar, I eat desserts. I just think it's about putting more healthy food in, and so that way there is a place for dessert and drinks and celebration foods. There's totally a place for that, but I think trying to keep it home cooked, trying to keep it fairly whole food healthy is the way to go. But for sure, I don't limit myself. I don't have a super strict diet. I think it's just about finding a movement that you love. Hopefully, if you're here, it's yoga, and just trying to live a well-balanced life. I don't think there's any need for extremes, and I don't think there's any need for deprivation. I eat bread every day, so there's no diets over here. It's just about eating to fuel and feel good. So that's my way. I know it's not the most exciting, and I don't have any secrets for you, but that's my way. So I kind of answered what are your eating habits and routines. I, again, can get into this in another video, but I eat breakfast every day, but I know a lot of people are into intermittent fasting. I think I, without trying, do that a lot of days because I eat dinner with my family pretty early. A lot of days it's like 5:30, like we're early bird special over here. Usually, I would say like 95% of the time, dinner's at home, cooked by me, and like 5:30 we're done, and then in the morning I'm having breakfast more like 8:30, so that's a long time to kind of let my body rest and get hungry again for the day. I can talk more about the types of foods I love to eat and the types of foods that make me feel best, or like pre-yoga, post-yoga foods, so let me know if you're interested in that. That's gonna do it for this Q&A session. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you just had fun with it like I did. Thank you so much. If you want more Q&A sessions, or if you have ideas for more questions, just send them to me anytime. You can find me, of course, here on YouTube. You can comment on my videos, or you can find me on Instagram, Flow with Ali, as well. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you next time.